Wait. That's unfortunate. That's unfortunate. But now, since we're time traveling, I can upload it now. Right after.
Sitting here on my phone, the internet is where I roam. And my chat is in the zone. I'm peculiar, not alone. The devices that I own, reading clips with the flow. As a needy indigo, this corner's now my home.
Welcome there then to the Beauty and the Beast stream. It's the Anyway Show. I'm Grim Grizz. I thought I'd be orientating at the new Jarb all day today and not be able to stream until after tomorrow night of being all day at the Jarb, but it turns out we're having a stream anyway. We're having a stream anyway. More updates on that to follow. But first, additional branding. How about this?
Tell me that you've lived here your whole life.
No, not yet.
Are you married?
No bad habits. your nose and you'll come to it. Follow your nose, follow your nose and you
Tell me that you've lived here your whole life.
No, not yet.
Are you married?
No, no bad habits.
No bad habits, eh? Well, what do you choose that tobacco for?
For nothing. Nobody's fool enough to pay me for it.
Well, tell me, how far is it to the next crossroads?
Follow your nose and you'll come to it.
Fidelity. That's as far as I've made it on my blind elephant game groping of brotherhood today. Is the concept of fidelity and how that's got to be part of it. That's got to be part of it. Welcome, everybody. Okay, what we do here is these savings throws against the mind control that you swim in every day, like fish swim in water. We use a lot of it here on the show, so we give you a savings throw. Here's how that goes. You get to choose between survival, social, wisdom, or heart as the basis for your savings throw. Survival, social, wisdom, or heart. I roll these dice. One of those is represented by what each of those choices is represented on the dice. See, look. And if it's over 10, you take half damage from the mind control for the rest of the show and the rest of your day. And if it's under 10, you take full damage. But remember, everybody, at least you got a savings throw and you know you're taking full damage. Survival, social, wisdom, or heart. Choose. Oh, look, survivalist with a 10 today on the self die. The socialist, however, only a deuce. Only a deuce for you, my friends. Lovers of wisdom, you got a pair of sevens for 14. 14 there. Heart, folks, you're going to need your replay bonus. That's a 5 for you. A 5 for you. Indigo kids, you got a pair of 8s again. A pair of 8s once again. Oh, look what we found on the VNA logos part of the Discord. The way he brought Jonathan Pageau into our awareness was sort of as a bishop of symbolism. I mean, the man now runs the Symbolic World website, and it's all into symbolism. And when and I don't know why I can't find these videos on either of their channels, but they brought Peterson came on and he was like, check this out. It's a symbol, and he put it on his head. It's a symbol, and he put it on his head. It's a symbol, and he put it on his head. Gartham says, I gotta find the right emojis for each of these categories, and that makes me want. Oh, we redid that ticker yesterday. You wrote over it. Never mind. Never mind. I used to have a ticker that was all the emojis for the channel members that pay the YT subs. And anyway, part of what we do is we gather here to be virtually not alone in each other's hive minds and discords and comments, and it just essentially electronically assisted telepathy of various forms. Part of what we do as huge consumers of these of these content things that come on these platforms in our feeds, like we're oh look, the 5 of diamonds is the casino card of the show. Part of what we do though is like panhandling for gold, and I came across one the other day I'd like to share with you now. Here it's from Chris Williamson with the Human Uberman. Huberman.
Beautifully, and this is two of my favorite results that really bring this around to a protocol or a takeaway. If people are given an easy task, the AMCC isn't activated. If they're given a hard task, in particular a hard task, physical or cognitive, that they really don't want to do, the AMCC levels of activity go through the roof. And here's what's really cool. They gave aging, people age 60 to 79, the task of adding 3 hours extra per week of cardiovascular exercise. Now, that's a lot, right? 3 1 hour, they call them aerobic classes, but getting their heart rate up to about 65, 70% of maximum. So it's getting into like zone 3-ish area. Yeah, people can look up zone 3, but you nailed it, zone 3. The size of their AMCC increased across that 6-month protocol and offset the normal age-related decline in this brain area in terms of its size. The theory that's starting to emerge is that the AMCC isn't just about tenacity and willpower to push through hard things, that it may actually be related to one's will to live, one's will to converge, is that the AMCC isn't just about tenacity and willpower to push through hard things, that it may actually be related to one's will to live, one's will to continue living. And I think these are some of the most important results. By the way, I didn't participate in any of the research that I just described. I spent a lot of time with that literature, but I think it's so important. I mean, we hear about the amygdala, the hippocampus, the prefrontal cortex, all of very important brain structures. But if nothing else, hopefully this conversation will put the AMCC on the map.
The one that literally could create your will to live is the one that's been overlooked a little bit.
And it can be. And what's interesting about this structure is that it's involved in generating tenacity and willpower for all things, not just for one situation. And what's really wonderful, I think, about the research literature on this is it's so clear what we need to do. We need to do things. Let's say, like me, you're a person who enjoys weightlifting and you love running. I love those two.
No, nobody's like that. What we need to do, this reminded me of something Pastor Paul covered a year ago, and that was that epic phenomenon of Elden Ring.
Hi, this is Paul. I got a tweet here that got added at me with myself and Jonathan Pajot and John Milbank and James K. Smith and Matthew Milliner, who is the historian, the art historian, author of The Everlasting People and The Mother of the Lamb. And basically it was a Ryan 734599181 says this video game sold 20 million copies in 17 days, or 12 million copies in 17 days. And I feel like we should say something about it. And it had all of this art.
And then
Bing, bing, boom, boom, boom.
We'll go. And then we'll go to the 33rd minute here, just to get a taste.
Then the game's kind of a slot machine, because the whole point to the game, whole point to the slot machine is to have the bells and whistles and give you just enough money to keep you putting more money into the slot machine. That's the whole point of it. And the point of so much in the attention economy is just keep your attention there, keep you watching the next YouTube video, keep you scrolling, through your Instagram or your Facebook or your Twitter, just keep you on Twitter, and it's all perfected to just keep you there. And so when you're not doing well, give you a little bit incentive. And in fact, this is how our educational systems are increasingly working. The point isn't that you would actually derive competence, but the issue is that you'd feel good about yourself when you're done, and you'd want to stay in it longer.
The list?
Which
Yes,
is exactly
any of the
for some
first
people.
level ones.
I'm gonna get a soda. Anyone want one? Hey, Graham, I'm not in the room, right?
What room? I want to cast Magic Missile.
The room where he's casting all these spells from.
He hasn't cast anything yet. I am, though, if you'd listen. I'm casting Magic Missile.
Why are you casting Magic Missile? There's nothing to attack here.
I'm attacking the darkness.
Chad, we'll cover your new video in a little bit. Settle down there. Settle down. Any other swim bros in the hive mind, says Gartham. Everybody else is arguing about whether or not running is therapy. There's some magic missilers. Hey, Franco, good to see you. Slack Milan, thanks for being here. So the coverage of this video here was about this Elden Ring game. And the thing about the Elden Ring game is, like, it's hard. Like back in the good old days of Mega Man, when games were hard.
What school is doing.
As you beat enemies in turn-based RPGs, you gain experience, and with enough grinding, winning is less dependent on your own decision-making and more a factor of how over-leveled you are.
And a little bit of translation, how over-leveled you are, meaning you grind and you grind and you get all of the goodies and you get all of the swords and you get all of the tools and you level up, and so now
you can make special hive mind emojis that other people can't because you've ground and leveled up. Okay, so that's the portion of how most games suck. And then they go into how the Dark Souls ones are actually challenging. And according to our newest research from Human Uberman over here,
activities. Well, guess what? Those activities, even if they're hard, like a hard run that I'm really enjoying, or some hard sets in the gym, not going to increase the size or activity of the AMCC. People love to over romanticize the utility of those final 2 reps. Sure, okay, pushing to failure, great. Running hard till your lungs burn, great. But if you enjoy that, you're not increasing your amount of tenacity and willpower, at least according to the research data. What's going to do it is doing something what I call micro sucks or macro sucks. And so micro sucks could be all the little things that you don't want to do during the day.
And so, like, games like Dark Soul are filled with these micro sucks that actually grow the thing. Like, nihilism saps you of your will to live, and this is the best thing we have as a cure. So if you can't start running yet, maybe load up some Dark Souls or other really challenging video games, you potato chip fellow. What?
We all know that there is no agency any living gent can see doing what is right for me. Is lifting up my bro so he can grow some eyes to see that doing what is right for me increases all our agency.
Ducks eat bread.
They do. They like it.
I'm gonna have a look at you.
Welcome, everybody. This is the oh dear, this is the Beauty and the Beast stream, the Anyway show on this Monday, November 20th. The Americans are gearing up for the thanking of the givings. And for those of you who won't be able to attend with thine family or whatever, I personally recommend you be thankful for the post office and actually mail them something with your handwritten, because the reasons. But I think we should write letters more often, and people like getting them. Like, they like getting things in the mail that aren't bills. Remember it.
This agency. We want
Now, I've been kind of stalling because the next thing is Medusa's new hairdo, which, as you know from yesterday, we had a Medusa theme, and then I ran across this thing, and like, as we do, we grab from other platforms, and I found this nugget. This particular nugget, let's see if we can make it more visible, is from a father of a 15-month-old son, apparently. So it claims, so the claim goes. And his name is Matt Perkowski, I guess. Yeah. There we go. That's nice and big. Medusa's new hairdo, he called this. As a father of a 15-month-old, I spend a lot of time these days observing and stewarding the early childhood development, that of our child and of the others in the community with whom he interacts. Throughout this process, my background interests in evolutionary biology, technological evolution, emergence, and the neuroscience are never far from mind. One extremely salient aspect of my experience thus far has been the hyper-exploratory nature of young children. Their attention flits from stimuli to stimuli, continuously reorienting their emerging phenomenology to novel affordances within the environment. Often they're attracted to each source of stimuli just long enough to redirect their attentional orbit toward yet another attractor upon the landscape of affordances that resonate with their current developmental stage. Over time, as their cortical function begins to play a larger role in the overall dynamics of their embedded agency, they become increasingly capable of consciously parameterizing and stewarding said agency.
Remember, there is no agency. We want what's best.
This comes in the form of motor control at higher resolutions, manipulation of increasingly complex affordances / relations between affordances, and the ability to consciously direct and maintain their attention. That list is, of course, nowhere near exhaustive, but it is minimally sufficient to discuss what's been on my mind as I watch this unfold and as I participate in its unfolding. Namely, I increasingly align with the hypothesis that attention deficit disorder and or attention deficit hyperactivity disorder are merely medicalized pointers that paper over a largely technologically driven change to our neurodevelopmental environment and default behavioral tendencies. Why do I say this? Like any other skill mediated by higher order cortical brain function, that these leaves are for the healing of nations. The capacity to consciously steward, parameterize, and hold attention constitutes a behavior whose development and therefore whose early neurological pruning and later default state space tendencies is subject to environment-mediated variation. And by environment, I am here also including the behavioral tendencies of other agents in the child's landscape. This is clear to any close and honest observer of cognitive development in children. You can see clear as day a child move from a cognitive regime in which their attention is primarily a function of their environment, with the observing self along for the ride, so to speak, to a regime in which they increasingly develop the capacity to consciously direct their focus toward ever more fine-grained affordances within their environment for increasingly long periods of time without distraction.
Oh, shoot, where was I going with this? Attention.
Oh, wait. The good news is CW showed up. The bad news is I didn't get coffee during that musical break like I should have. And now...
I don't want to know how things are to be. I want to exert action as long as I live, so that the sort of things which should, in my opinion, be, have more chances of being. If they're all set, it doesn't interest me anymore to see the year 2000 than it interests me to see the year 1000. The merit of the future is that it is not set. The merit of the future is that it is not set. The merit of the future is that it is not set. If they're all set, the merit of the future is that it is not set. The merit of the future is that it is the area in which we can exert our will, exert our efforts, and try to validate our values. That is the merit of the future.
All right, then now we're back to it. Okay, and then we're at without distraction. But consider what happens as a child is sitting with a toy that they've recently begun to explore more deeply. We introduce a supernormal attentional stimuli into their environment. For those unfamiliar with the concept of supernormal stimuli, here's a fun illustrated explainer. And this is what I actually wanted everyone to see. This guy made this cartoon. I found it back in like 2011, 2012. And I was like, hey, guy, let me chop it up so I can show people in pieces and they can click through and stuff. He's like, no, dude. No, I want them to come to the web page. Anyway, this is a great thing where they show how scientists figure out they could fool stupid peacock to sit on wrong egg and make fish like attack things that were not fish. And because the birds and the animals are so stupid, they can't resist their instincts, and their instincts can be manipulated with supernormal stimuli. Like this little bird here, he likes to sit on red speckled eggs, so they make a really big and really red speckled egg. And even though the bird can't even sit without falling off of it, it sits on it. And then the scientists said, hey, you know what? We can do that with humans too. And that's why you need SAVES versus mind control, because you're born into a world of supernormal stimuluses, as illustrated in this thing here. I will put the Sparring Mind / Supernormal Stimuli comic link somewhere where you can find it after the show. Oh, and back to it. The attentional field of a developing human brain is hypersensitized to novelty. As epistemic foragers, humans have carved out an immensely successful ecological niche by becoming what one might call a two-legged environment modeling platform that can efficiently manipulate its physical environment in order to move more effectively, model and manipulate it. I don't know why one might call it a two-legged environmental modeling platform that can efficiently manipulate its physical environment in order to more effectively model and manipulate it, but one might call it that. So we've placed a source of supernormal attentional stimuli within a child's environment. What happens next? It is the ultimate attentional attractor. It is capable of infinite novelty. It glitters evanescently with forms, colors, and shapes of infinite variety. It's hypnotizing. The child, immediately fascinated by this object, reorients, moves toward it, and fixates. No longer must they move around their environment to switch attentional frames. No longer must they manipulate or reorient their object of attention to gain a different perspective, thus changing the stimuli to which they're neurologically habituated. No longer must they exert what scientists such as Terence Deacon called contragrade effort to perform the cognitive work of changing the perspective within their mind's eye by way of manipulating the internal symbolic constraints that they use to parameterize their own intent. All right, you guys get the point, right? Growing up with phones is screwing up the brains. And he goes deep into that. Deep into that. Meanwhile,
It appears the assassins have failed.
May they continue to do so.
Like love. Love is worth saving.
I don't know love.
Now encompasses everything. Does it not?
It's all there is.
It's all there is.
You choose survival, social, wisdom, or heart.
I'm not. We're going to end up, if we continue down this vein of tit for tat, eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. Okay. Talking about proportionality, and I'm going to say this, and it's going to sound really harsh because I don't know how to say it any other way. Life sucks, and then you die. Okay. You're always going to get spit on. I'm going to get spit on because I'm a Christian. Kezzy's going to get spit on because he's a Jew. Okay. And we're all going to suffer some kind of oppression in our life. And if that's the thing that, if we're going to start keeping score on our oppression, which is what most of the world is doing today, actually, then we're going to make ourselves miserable and we're going to fail to live. And we won't be able to love either. We'll forget how to love.
As Milan echoes, especially for latchkey kids who were virtually ignored. Weeks said he sent me a documentary for the Blind Elephant game on Brotherhood, and Weeks, that's not how we play the Blind Elephant game. You get in your little red room and you tense your little supervillain fingers and you say, Brotherhood, gentlemen. And then you can say whatever the guy said in the documentary, but you say it because it's from you. It's supposed to be your thoughts on Brotherhood, and if you steal them from that guy, it's fine. But to play, you have to play. You have to play. Jeez.
Special thanks to the Shadow Cabal. So say we all.
Why, Phoebus asks, is this channel a big speckled egg? Sir, this is the speckliest egg in the TLC, as far as I can tell. As far as I can tell, look at all of our speckles. What do we do with them?
I'm attacking the darkness.
A phone will not dry your clothes. Yet. But soon you will have the laundromats activated with Google Pay, where they won't work unless you have your phone. What? That brings, you guys are bringing me, all this phone talk is bringing me to my first thing I wrote on the cards I want to cover today. It's get out of my cell, which is the I guess my generation's equivalent of get off of my lawn. I am really disgusted and disturbed how everybody wants me to put their app on my phone. It feels like it helps me understand what it must feel like when someone wants to get in your pants. It's just they want on my phone, and I'm like, no. It's like every stupid grocery store has their own app that they want on your phone, so you can do the shopping with the coupons and the yada yada. The Online Express. Why is that not one platform and each store has their own little on the platform of the shopping It's stupid, and don't let people put their apps on your phone. You don't read the terms of service. You don't have an AI bot reading the terms of service, telling you that part about your firstborn in there that you're just agreeing to. So just don't do it. Don't get out of my cell. Get off of my phone app. I don't want your app. I don't want it. Have a train. We are the carbon they're trying to eliminate. I'm just playing. But have I gotten down to the carbon points? Carbon points? Yes, yes. I've heard word that at the Weefers, there was a smell I caught a whiff of. I caught a whiff of a smell of them saying we could sell our carbon credits to rich folk, so they could travel since we wouldn't be able to, trapped in our 15-minute cities. Speaking of 15-minute cities, the blue church card of the show is the 8 of spades. I don't know what that has to do with 15-minute cities, but I never understood the card thing anyway. Speaking of card things, other things on this card that aren't our fancy, we'll get to it eventually, branded the Beauty and the Beast's thumbnail over here on this Anyway show. We did cover the Anyway part of the show already. I thought I'd be working at the new Jarb today, but I'm streaming anyway. And
I believe that if everyone sees what just a few people become when they wholly embrace their gifts, others will awaken.
all right, now the thing on the card that I didn't even write in the thumbnail because I kind of decided not to do it is called Next Google. And the Next Google thing is like this. The thing that one would need to know in order to understand what I mean by Next Google is that the reason Google became Google was because they figured out the keyword thing, right? Before that, all of the search engines were like phone books where you had to look up like, hey, I'm looking for something on sports and fishing, and then you go into the categories and find it. And Google figured out, well, let's just use the keywords and like they can just say that, and then we'll give them that stuff. And so the Next Google is essentially, the thing that's going to differentiate like our current regime, I like that from the Perkowski piece. The thing that's going to change our regime as far as information processing goes is data validation of sorts. It's going to be whoever figures out how I can tell the information whether or not it was useless to me. If I need to know it, or if it's useful information for everybody, or if it's for me to be able to validate it as a source, and like that functionality being added to each endpoint user on the node is going to be whoever figures that mix out is the Next Google. I got my own system, but I'm pursuing other avenues as we speak. Okay, two more things on the card. The next is kind of interesting, and then we'll get to the Beauty and the Beasts and the lion eating bloomers. All right, this next bit I wrote on the card is writer, reader, and TikToker. And it's kind of like the edge of my thinking, so I'm not going to be able to articulate it very well, but I'm going to take a stab at it. Being literate puts you in a secret club. And once, if you at least ever feel like a writer, then it lets you read the books of other writers with a different feeling, as if you're in a secret club. And people who have read their own books feel like they're in a secret club. And this this I'm alone with this other mind feeling that we get with a book has been scaled up to whatever this is like the person you are here is almost the same person as when you're reading a book, and that person is way more intimate than most all of your physical relations. It's like somebody whispering into your mind when you're reading. It's not so much different in this scenario. And it's like for example, you'll see people complaining about their dating life on social medias, and that's like diary level intimacy that's public, and like so like whoever they're dating could theoretically go find it, or there's a that's the thing is the inverted intimacy from real world to in ourselves. And the writer reader TikToker was part of, is like, if that's what the slope is like for us, what is it like for like they are so much more of a hive minding as with the TikTok neurology. I suspect. Let's see. I'll see what the hive mind had to say. Well, you enjoy this. That's a mighty fine question, Lenny. Are LARPs higher or lower than books? And I would say that they're higher. And higher is well, maybe the verticality isn't the right analogy for it, but the difference there being like the level of it's out there in actuality, like you're in the building and there's other people and it's actually happening, whereas the space we share here isn't exactly that. It's like the difference between being in a LARP out there is, or maybe even being a LARP in here, but it's like the mystery, the you become part of everybody else's mystery in actuality, and that's a different, there's definitely a different intimacy. It's an externalized interest in an actual versus an imaginary, maybe I don't know. Well, maybe there's something in Chad's new video, Madness and the Imaginarium. It's 40 minutes. I haven't seen it all yet, but he does read the poem at the end, or play the poem reading with the words on the screen. What's up in the front, Chad?
I want to lay out a poem that I had only heard yesterday. And I'm going to lay out a poem that I've heard since I was about 12 years old. That has always kind of stuck with me. And I wondered, who is the who is the she in this poem? Who is Cinderella in this poem? And it wasn't until recently where I realized maybe Cinderella is wisdom and maybe she's a symbol of something like what makes the world go round. Now, I know I'm probably not making a whole lot of sense. That's because this is in many ways beyond sense.
Like love. Love is worth saving.
I don't know love. Now encompasses everything. Does it not?
It's all there is.
It's all there is.
You choose survival, social, wisdom, or heart.
See, you've given yourself up. But this is the most powerful thing that can be done. Surrender. See, and love is an act of surrender to another person. Total abandonment. I give myself to you. Take me, do anything you like with me. See? So, and that's quite mad. So we come to the strange conclusion that in madness lies sanity.
Special thanks to the Shadow Cabal. So say we all. Hey, we've made it to the Beauty and the Beast and the Lying Eden Loaded Blue. That part. We made it to this part of the stream. The Beauty and the Beasts and the Lion Eating Lotus Bloomers. This is my as you know, like from the God Mask project, that I really feel as though we've lost an initiation into manhood in our society, and basically the better we can equip the young with what wisdom we have managed to gain is the better chance of the whole thing turning around. And as such, I've been wrestling with how I would convey my understanding of the human condition. You can also frame it in terms of the Alien Salience Project. It would also, it's the same thing, and it's the thing that humans are, that man is, that's weird, that's weird, is that there's the potential for the blooming of the lotus, and that's the crown chakra. You know, you go survival, social, or survival, self, social, love, wisdom, indigo, weird stuff, and then the crown. Wow, that's the lotus blooming part, right? But in order for the lotus to bloom, we have to eat the lion, and the lion is all of the instincts that we can resist and then turn away from supernormal stimuli. That's just the tip of the iceberg of eating the lion, but not being destroyed by those carnivorous desires within us is what allows for the blooming of the lotus. And the issue is like, even if you do it right and you you grow and develop into a completely successful, fully developed human or fully articulated, whatever, the thing that you make with the other fully articulated human is still a monkey that has to eat a lion. And that's the human condition that is played out into this scenario we currently have, which is that those that can or are otherwise satiated feed off of those that can't eat their own lions. It's like, because you can't control your temptation, I will be eating you, your life, blood, and work. Like, you pour your life into your work to get the dollars, and then I'll be taking those because you can't eat your beast. And even I can tell you that as I sell you the thing, and I get more points if I do it. I don't know how the point system actually works. They're not carbon credit points,
but there seems to be a point system involved where, like, if I warn you and you do it anyway, then like I get to do it guilt-free and weigh benefits from your suffering. I don't. You're gonna have to talk with the maker of the universe as to why it works that way, but it does. In fact, as far as I can tell, seem to work that way. Dang, look at this with the nuanced position of Milan. Teaching the kids to read changes their lives for the better. I don't the books they use. They put that, I don't think stage fright is good for blood hydraulics. Maybe that's part of it, James. Maybe that's part of it, James. Good to see you. Hey, Anthony. Thanks for stopping in there, Daniel. I saw you. So that's the notion of Beauty and the Beasts and the lion eating lotus bloomers. I like bloomers. The word is bloomers. Can we bring that back as a fashion? Anybody want to do bloomers? Can we add that to the gear store, maybe? And oh.
And now, this program is brought to you by
Glass TV on here. Why would we need a TV? A darn TV. Why on earth would you put a TV in here? A darn TV. Why on earth would you put a TV in here? Why would we need a TV? A darn TV. A darn TV. A darn TV. Why on earth would you put a TV in here? Glass TV on here. Why would we need a TV? Why on earth a darn TV? Why on earth would you put a TV in here?
All right, there. I guess that's the Anyway show. We did everything on that card. We did the Get Out of My Cell, Get Off of My Phone. We did the Beauty and the Beast and the Lotus Bloomers. We even did the Next Google and the whole ride. I hope I've given you some. I don't know what you guys get out of coming here, other than maybe being a little virtually not alone. Leave me a comment and let me know, and then we can. Like, good enough comments turn into shows. You'd be amazed. But thanks for making me feel virtually not alone. Anyway, folks, thanks for that. Let's take the new train back out of here. Yeah. Bye, everybody. Wait. That's unfortunate. But now, since we're time traveling, I can upload it now. Right after.
Sitting here on my phone, beginning that is where I roam. And my chat is in the zone. I bet you be not alone. The devices that I own, reading clips with the flow. As a medium of go, this corner's now